Everyone for joining us today. We have head coach Robin Pingeton here to preview our upcoming week beginning on Monday with our matchup against Missouri State. So with that, we will start with an opening statement from coach, and then we'll open it up to questions. Once we do open it up, get your hands raised in the queue, and we will get going. Go ahead, take it away, coach.
Well, first of all, it's great to see everyone. It seems like it's been a minute, so appreciate you guys jumping on with us. What a fantastic win for our men's team. So excited for Konzo and his staff and those guys. You know, I get a chance to see them practice and out here on the court quite a bit, and they've worked really, really hard. So huge win for them. Really excited for them. Excited to be back with our team. Yesterday was the first day that we had all 12 players back on the court for practice after going through some things the last couple of weeks. So yesterday was a good day, high energy, great focus. We need to come back and have a really strong practice today. Obviously got a very talented and tough opponent in a short turnaround for our team. So, but we're just looking forward to getting back on the court. You know, the timing's going to be a little rough here and there. And, you know, it's just hard when you haven't been together, but at the same time, just being grateful for the opportunity that's in front of us and an opportunity to get back on the court and play a game that we love.
Okay, with that, we'll open up to questions. First up is Natalie Jones from KMIZ. Take it away, Natalie.
Hey, Coach. Hope you're doing well. Glad you guys are able to get back out there. You guys came out of the gates pretty strong there, you know, against North Alabama. What do you say to your team to, you know, keep that energy going after more than 2 weeks off here? You know, it's probably tough to keep that motivation, but what do you say to them?
You know, I think the biggest thing, Natalie, is just, you know, appreciating the opportunity that we have. And we knew going into this season, it was going to be pretty fluid and we needed to stay flexible. And that sounds great when you're healthy and everybody's on the court. But, you know, when you have to go back into quarantine 2 or 3 times, and it's just really hard. It's really hard. But I think every time we get a chance to get back on the court and, you know, we've got our family members out there with us, that you just have a renewed sense of appreciation and gratitude for the opportunity that's in front of you. You know, they spend really, when you think about it, I mean, they came back in August and have been, you know, in pretty consistent and in some sort of workout for several months, and we've only played 1 game. And so that can be pretty deflating, but at the same time, when you're on the back end of it and you get a chance to get back on that court, you know, it's just, you have a sense of gratitude and appreciation and excitement. So I think that's where we're at. Control what you can control, focus on one day at a time. And the fact that we're back together now is really exciting.
Colin O'Brien, News Tribune. Go ahead, Colin.
Hey, Coach. Yeah, I want to echo the sentiments of hoping everybody's well with your program. I know when everybody was in quarantine at the start of practices, they were still able to do, you know, conditioning drills and stuff together. What did practices look like these last 2 weeks when you couldn't have everybody there? Was it still, you know, 8, 10 players there at a time, almost normal, or was it way different?
No, I think it was way different. You know, we were down to 7 players, and you don't always have maybe the right positions, you know, just rotations that kids would be used to position-wise. But again, you've got to make the most out of what you have and the opportunity to be out there. You know, we're very blessed that we're still able to have some scout guys that have helped us out, and so that was big. But you know, what we experienced the last 2 weeks and then to go into yesterday's practice and have everybody healthy, it just felt completely different. It felt like a full gym, which is crazy because you only have 12 on your roster, but 5 players makes quite a big difference. For the kids that weren't able to practice the last 2 weeks, I really think they embraced what was in front of them and still continued to really work on that physical aspect of staying in shape and trying to simulate some sort of a workout for themselves. And so I'm really proud of them. It's not like they just sat around for 2 weeks and did nothing. They worked extremely hard. I think the challenge, though, is just kind of getting that timing back and that rhythm. No matter what you do, cardiovascular and the conditioning piece, it's just different when you have a ball in your hand. And so, but I'm really proud of them. I think they worked really, really hard over the last 2 weeks to the best of their ability to try and simulate what practices or games might look like.
Back to Natalie. Go ahead, Natalie.
Yeah, Coach, after a couple weeks ago after that game, you talked about, Haley Frank and Asia Blackwell. What have you seen from their leadership maybe through all this? Obviously, you mentioned it after the game that you saw a lot from them, but through the past 2 weeks, how have they been? Have they really displayed that leadership that you've been wanting, ever since last year?
Yeah, it's just so hard, Natalie, when, you're on Zoom calls and you're not together. And so, I don't know that the opportunity, I'm not involved in their group chats, obviously, and I don't know what that necessarily looks like, but I do know, again, we continue to meet on Zoom so our entire team and staff can be together and have that time together. The conversations about making sure everyone's, staying accountable and working hard in regards to what they're able to do. But it's just been different when we haven't all been on the court together. Those two have grown a lot from a leadership standpoint, and I'm really proud of them. But honestly, Natalie, the last 2 weeks have been probably a little challenging when everyone's in different spots and hasn't had the opportunity to really be together.
Colin.
Coach, this Missouri State matchup, just obviously they're a very strong program, and this is an exciting game for this state every year. But just matchup wise, where do you see this game? Maybe compared to last year when you have a little bit more front court strength to go with the front court Missouri State brings into this game.
Well, as much as I'd like to say it's going to come down to the scout and matchups and things like that, I mean, we just have to focus on us right now. We've been out for 2 weeks. It's not going to be pretty at times, I'm sure. Execution's going to be maybe off a little bit, but the things that we can control is our effort, playing hard. A lot of times when you just play hard, it makes up for a lot of mistakes. Just being assignment correct in regards to just knowing your scout, who's the shooters, who's the drivers, things like that we're going to have to be on point with. But I also think, Colin, in games like this, records kind of go out the window, and it's a fun matchup. It's a fun rivalry. It's a lot like our men's game with Illinois, the bragging rights game. It's so competitive. You got kids that were probably recruited by both programs. Each other really well. They played with each other in high school or against each other. Same thing with AAU. And so I think there's always a lot of emotions that go into these kind of games. But honestly, I think that's what makes it so fun. I don't understand why you wouldn't play in-state games like this, especially on the women's side, that I think can, elevate a fan interest and create a lot of excitement.
Kevin Ryans from KRCG, go ahead.
Hey, Robin, first things first, I just want to, extend my well wishes to you and your team. I hope that you guys are well. First things first, I just want to ask, the last few weeks, is there anything in particular you learned about your team and how they've been able to handle this situation? And how do you think that will help you guys moving forward as you guys continue on with the season and get the season back up and rolling?
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Kevin. I think, I wasn't, to just be fully transparent, I haven't been around the last 2 weeks. And so I obviously had to really rely on my assistant coaches to step up and continue to lead this team. And I think they've done a phenomenal job. They really have. I think there's been a lot of growth. And I think, it's all about perspective. Control what you can control, and you can either feel sorry for yourself or say, there's a silver lining in this somewhere, and this is giving other kids an opportunity to step up and in different positions. And I think they have. I think it gave us a chance to really kind of break some things down defensively that we felt were glaring from our first game, and maybe give a little bit more individual attention to those kids. But honestly, everything that I watched, as far as practices being recorded, the conversations that I had with my staff, really proud of our kids, the resiliency. I told them a couple years ago, Notre Dame actually, I believe, had more ACLs than they had losses. And they had 7 kids that went into that NCAA tournament and they won it all. And so, you know, you got to make the most out of what you have. And nobody cares right now that we had 7 healthy kids that could practice. Nobody. And we can't go into practices thinking we're going to pace ourselves and feel sorry for ourselves. There's a lot of people that would love to be on the court and be able to lace them up. And so, again, just really having that heart of gratitude and appreciation for what we have. And in the meantime, let's get better and let's grow individually and collectively. And I really do think that that's kind of what happened over the last week and a half, both for our kids that were here and then our kids that were in quarantine in regards to, again, controlling what they could control and making the most out of the opportunity, knowing that we were coming back to face a top 25 team. And, you know, to the best of our ability, we had to be on point, especially with our conditioning.
Suichi Terada, Kansas City Star.
Hey, Robin. Yeah, sorry, my camera's a bit janky. I was just wondering, hope you guys are doing well, of course. Just wondering, with the upcoming schedule, do you like kind of going into the deep end in terms of just 3 games and kind of a shortened span?
I mean, yeah, as a coach, no, you know, I, like I said, haven't been there the last 2 weeks. And so, you know, coaches always want practice, players want games. I'm sure our players are really excited about what's in front of us. It is a little bit of a, you know, a different feel probably during finals week to have games. Typically we don't. However, I do believe that a lot of times the tougher week is the week before finals. So many papers do and things like that. And so, no, I think, you know, where we're at right now, these girls typically would have played 9 to 10 games at this point, and we've only got 1 under our belt. Kids want to play, players want to play. And so, yeah, I mean, from that standpoint, I am excited. I know we're going to have some things we're going to have to work through in games versus practice with everything coming at us so quickly, but I think it's a great opportunity, and I'm excited for our kids to be able to get some games under their belt.
Anybody else have anything for Coach? Last call. All right, that'll do it. Thank you so much, Coach.
Yep. Hey, I appreciate you guys. Stay healthy out there, and hopefully we'll see you guys soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.